Hi, everyone. I'm Sean. I'm the Assistant Director here at the AmeriCorps program. Happy to have you join us, panelists especially, and folks who might be interested in AmeriCorps. Definitely happy to have you here so you can get your questions answered.
Well, I'll go next. Alicia Sierra, Program Director for Springfield College AmeriCorps. Super glad to see familiar faces and new faces. How about we go with Morgan?
Hi, everyone. My name is Morgan Bostic. I'm going into my second year master's program with athletic counseling.
Morgan, why don't you pick who goes next?
Mardoche.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mardoche. I just completed my second year of service with AmeriCorps. Anthony?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Rendina. This is my second year joining AmeriCorps, returning member and studying at school counseling at Springfield College. Allison.
Hello, I'm Allison Emhoff. I have been a site supervisor for AmeriCorps, primarily at Lincoln Elementary School. I was also at White Street for some time. I'm a school counselor. For as long as I've been in Springfield in the schools, I've been working alongside or supervising AmeriCorps members.
New folks, do you want to introduce yourselves?
I'll introduce myself. My name is Sarah Melton. I'm starting my first year of my Master's of Social Work at Springfield College. I'm going out of the Worcester satellite office starting in the fall. And then I just got the email about this information session, so I was just interested in listening in.
Awesome. Great to meet you, Sarah.
Thank you.
I'll go. Hi, my name is Deborah Alice Ramos. I go by Debbie. I am in my second year of the school counseling program, and it's my first time doing AmeriCorps, and I'm really excited.
Great to see you again, Debbie.
Nice to see you.
I guess I'll go since I'm last. I'm Celeste. I'm gonna be a second year undergrad in the social work program. This will be my first year with AmeriCorps, so I'm kind of excited. This looks really good.
Awesome. Great to see you again, Celeste. So I just wanted to share a few updates, and then we'll get into some questions and answers with our panelists. And then we will have time for you folks to ask questions that you have as well. Just a little bit about AmeriCorps. This is like a very brief overview. Like the military or Peace Corps, AmeriCorps is like a way that you can serve your country. It's the largest national service organization. So that means that all the service is done here in the States nationally. And AmeriCorps members like you make Americans safer, stronger, and healthier. And our program is specifically focused on education, and that's our focus, is serving students K through 12. AmeriCorps members strengthen our communities, and above all, what we say at AmeriCorps is AmeriCorps members get things done. So thanks for joining us. We have some questions for our panelists to start. So we'll give them, it'll give you a bit of an introduction to who they are and their service. And then we'll open it up for questions for you all. So, so panelists, can you tell me what brought you to AmeriCorps? And let's start with members. So maybe Anthony, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I can kick us off. So as stated before, this is not my first year joining. I'm going to be returning back after doing a year of service already. What drew me to AmeriCorps was that in the school counseling program at Springfield College, they they kind of tie in with your practicum at the school. So like I have to do hours of practicum. It also ties in with AmeriCorps service. So you're able to work in a school, work as a counselor while also working on your educational skills to it. Plus, what's nice about the AmeriCorps program is that unlike practicum stuff where you have to do interviews and go for listings and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff is done already. And you're placed in a school basically at the beginning of the school year. You don't have to worry about the interview process as much. They kind of take care of that, placements for you. They give you information of like, hey, what kind of school do you want to work with, or like what age demographic you want to work with. And it was very easy to kind of get into it. We have that week of training that will come in later. And then you get basically start off of working. And it's been great to do that. And what really drew me to it was that on top of the hours and service, how they correlate with my education, the payment was also nice too. The able to get a living allowance and the stipend or the educational award at the end when you serve, which is also a nice bonus for your tuition at the end.
Mardoche or Morgan, do you want to jump in and tell us kind of what brought you to AmeriCorps?
Yeah, I can hop in real quick. So really, I was looking for an opportunity to work around my athletic counseling responsibilities. So we have a lot of responsibilities with athletic counseling, going to sporting events, observing teams and practices. So I was really looking for an opportunity to get paid, but also have flexibility with my program. And I saw AmeriCorps in that. Talking to Sean and Alicia, they really came through with what population do you want to work with? How can we work with what you're learning in your classes? So for school counseling, they kind of had options for that route to work with that population, or in my case, athletic counseling, which really was after school, kind of later in the day after 11 o'clock. So I got to go to my classes kind of earlier in the day, go to my site, and also have days where I would go to class one day, go to my site on another day, all in the same week, being able to reach my weekly hours. So it was really convenient and I learned so much. So looking back on it, like saying that I was just kind of looking for an opportunity to work around my athletic counseling responsibilities, it's really interesting to see where all of the stuff that I got out of it, reflecting on it. So
Great, thanks. And how about you, Mardoche?
For me, so I was in the school counseling program, and AmeriCorps, the work that we're doing in the school really aligns with what you need to be learning and doing as a school counselor. So especially in my first year, it was just a wonderful opportunity because you get into the school a little bit sooner and get to see how a school functions without having to worry about doing your practicum, because you don't start that until your second semester. So you're just kind of in the school, just getting to be another adult in the building for kids to interact with, but also you're getting to see how adults operate in a building and how a school really operates. So that was a big part for me, but also just because it was a great opportunity to get connected to the local Springfield community. I've met so many different people within Springfield, not just like Springfield Public Schools, but like getting to know the community, and that was through my time in the school.
Great. All right. So I know a thing that a lot of incoming members are pretty curious about is how is that school experience going to be, and how is it going to be working with my site supervisor? So what's great is today we have with us Allison, who is a site supervisor. Allison, can you kind of tell us a little bit about the experience your members have and how site supervisors support them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we have a great partnership with you guys at Springfield College, so the communication, and getting the members started and all of that is always really great and effective. And since we've had AmeriCorps members in our building for so many years, it's feels pretty like we have a good rhythm. When they get started, there's kind of like this period of time where they're just getting to know everything, and we're helping them orient to the building and the people and just how the expectations go, how everyone's roles go, and kind of where they fit into that. And every member has their own like personal strengths and personality qualities that differ. And so it's nice for you all or them to kind of explore an area that they're really passionate about or that they have a strength in and how that can support the school. So we're pretty flexible with their role in the school, kind of, you know, helping to push them along to outside of their comfort zone, of course, at times, but also like kind of sitting back and looking to see like what they're interested in and what avenues they want to explore in the school that, you know, aligns with our mission and vision in the school.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Any of our past members want to talk about your relationship with your site supervisor?
I can share. So I was in 2 different sites, both different years, and I have great relationships with both of my supervisors. Both of them ended up being letters of recommendations for me to get my job now. One of them tried to give me a job themselves. But your relationship goes beyond your time in the school. If you're just an active member who's just engaged in the school, like they want to see you succeed and thrive regardless of what they're doing. So for both of my supervisors, I can say like I could text them at any time about like any questions I had and like they'd answer me, or like they're always like, you know, like they're encouraging you to like reach out for help when you're in the building. Like they want to see you grow and learn. It's not like you get tossed into something and you have no support. Like they're openly willing to support you. And yeah, they're just there to support you. So your relationship, it's pretty easy to develop a relationship because also we're meeting once a week to like check in about like what you're doing in the building, right? Your caseload. So like the relationship will come over time just because you're always going to be with them. You're going to be observing them even when you're not working alongside them. So it was pretty easy to like develop a good relationship. And like I'm not at my site anymore, but like I'm still in communication with my supervisors. Now I work with my supervisors. So that's also pretty cool.
Anthony or Morgan, do you want to talk about how it went with your site supervisor and how that relationship is?
Sure, I can go next. So my supervisor, similar to my dossier, my relationship with my supervisor, because I'm started 1 year, I'm doing the next one now. My supervisor, when I left my site, was fantastic. We had a great relationship. He was the kind of person to be like, listen, I know you're new at this, but as long as you have a goal of what you want to do, go for it, and I'll help you along the way to get you to that goal. And what he let me to do was he allowed me to experiment, you know, how I found my rhythm, because when I first started, I wasn't sure exactly how to operate at this. Like I had some similar idea, but I wasn't sure of how I wanted to do it personally, because even working with my supervisor and the other counselors in the school, they had their own way of doing, you know, their way of counseling, and I had to find my own way of doing it. And my supervisor was always there to help me find that method and to tag along so he can share like what he offers as advice. You know, let me sit on, you know, parent teacher conferences, 504 meetings, any kind of admissions meetings sometimes, depending on what the accessibility was. Because even with my supervisor, like, yeah, I got along with my supervisor great, but I also made a lot more connections throughout the school as well, not just my supervisor. I was able to have good relationships with the assistant principal and the principal, the special education teachers, the gen ed teachers, a whole bunch of different people that I could call at any moment if I needed help for whatever reason. So it's not just my supervisor's relationship that I had a great time with. It was also with the people around, you know, in the building as well, because, you know, you're going to be working not only with your supervisor, but with the people in the building, and having that good relationship and having the ability to call them or ask them for help when I need it is fantastic. And I couldn't have had a better experience at my site at my first time there.
Great. And that's a good point, Anthony, that it's not just your site supervisor there who's to support you. Morgan, you want to chat just a little bit about maybe how things went at your site and who else you relied on as well?
Yeah, so my site supervisor and I, we had a wonderful relationship. I actually ended up, when my mom came to visit from back home in North Carolina, I insisted that she meet her. So they just chatted back and forth because my mom worked for the school system. So they were kind of comparing how different it is from back home. And they just, ever since then, she's like, Morgan, how's your mom? I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. But yeah, just she was so supportive, and I could tell that some of the things that I was talking to her about were a little bit unfamiliar because, you know, she's more of the school counseling focus and I was just slightly off with athletics. So she would always be eager to hear what was going on. She was always asking me how she could be of support and making those outside connections. So if I kind of had something going on, she would be the first one to say, oh, I can speak to this person about it and I'll get back to you. What do you need from me? So that was always really helpful. And like everyone else has been saying, that we know we can call on them to this day and they'll be willing to continue to help us. And going off of what Anthony was saying about the other connections in the building, those connections also develop from just being a presence in the school and speaking to those other staff members that you're working with, not just kind of sitting in your own space and following what you need to do every day, but taking the extra time and saying, hey, my name is Morgan, and nice to meet you. What grade do you work with? And I ended up even going out to hanging out with some of these people outside of the building. So all of that came with just stepping a little bit outside of my comfort zone and speaking to these people too. So that's how it was for me.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. I'm a little jealous I haven't met your mom yet, Morgan, so I have to fix that.
Oh, I've talked to her about everybody, so that's right.
All right. So incoming members and folks who are interested in AmeriCorps, I want to make sure that we give you time to ask questions as well. So feel free to unmute or raise your hand or put it in the chat, whatever feels comfortable for you. But you have 3 members here who have done service. You have a site supervisor here who supervised members for multiple years. So definitely anything that you have questions about, or even Alicia or I, if they're like kind of more program related questions, we're happy to answer.
This might be kind of like specific for me, but I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, if there's like options out in the Worcester area. I can always touch base with you guys outside of this meeting as well, but I'm not in the Springfield area, and it sounds like a lot of you guys are in Springfield. And I didn't know if you had any information at this time of any locations in Worcester.
Yeah, so Sarah, we should definitely chat afterwards about this,
Yeah.
because we've had members serve in the Worcester area. We have a couple members who are serving in the Worcester area. We don't have as many connections in Worcester, so we might rely on the School of Social Work and you to kind of build a connection so that we can use the site and a supervisor for your service. But definitely let's chat more about that so we can put
Sure.
something together.
Absolutely.
Great.
I can ask a question.
Mhm.
So this is kind of just like very broad for like anyone who wants to answer, but I know all of you had like when you first came in, I'm sure it was very like nerve-wracking. You're in a new environment with new people. So what was kind of like a moment where you were like, okay, I've got a handle on this. Like I see like what I'm doing. I know my goals. It's coming like a full circle moment, and I feel ready and prepared.
That's kind of what I liked most about AmeriCorps. It kind of gave you the freedom to like find your footing. It was like, here are some resources with our meetings where we would have guests from the community come, and our little workshop days. That was like, oh, here's some resources, here's some information. We had like a bunch of resources for activities to do on America Learns. So it was up to me, kind of just instilled in me to put that out there to my population, the students that I was working with. So after a while, I was like, all right, I know what I'm doing. I have the tools. Now it's time to go ahead and make a difference. And once I started like drilling that into myself, it just felt like a second nature at that point. So it was just in something finally in me was like, this is connecting and you're presented with this opportunity. So go for it.
I would love to hear how Allison, as a site supervisor, onboards a member that's brand new at your site. To adjust to, the students, the population, and the other staff that they're gonna meet.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mix of a whole lot of things. So in being in the elementary school, we kind of just share like good times for them to be in certain places to meet and greet with kids or families or and teachers, and also that beginning the 2 PD weeks before the kids start is great for them to come, even a few days to get to know the building and to get to know people before they start. And I mean, everybody in our building knows AmeriCorps, so when we go and make introductions, they understand like what that person's probably going to be doing for the most part, and it gives them a chance to meet them and talk more personally and informally. So kind of helping orient them, but then in the beginning, really taking them along with me as I go and do things and introducing them to different people, or just showing them kind of what we do in all different types of scenarios. And then definitely more time with one-on-one check-ins and meetings in the beginning to get their feedback on how things are going, and to hear their perspective and questions, and what they've noticed, and maybe things that they're noticing as a need that they want to explore.
Great. Any other questions from our guests?
As for like orientation week, what should I expect, and or like how should I like prepare?
Good question. And it makes me want to jump to our timeline slide. So what you'll see here, Kelly, is like kind of, most folks are already have done interviews and are accepted, might have some info about their site placements and things like that, and are kind of working with us to get all their many background checks done, which thank you for your help with. But our orientation week is going to be on the 17th to the 23rd. So that is actually, what is it? Is it Thursday to Wednesday, Alicia?
Yep.
Right. Okay. So Thursday to Wednesday, and that gives you a little bit of time after our orientation to get into your site when they're normally doing professional development days. Like Allison said, you can kind of meet folks, get used to the building, and then the school year for Springfield Public School anyway starts on the 28th. So you have a few days to kind of get to know folks and your site, and then start serving. And if you're a student here at Springfield College, we start classes after Labor Day. So it gives you a nice solid week of service as well before you have to worry about trying to fit classes into your schedule as well. So it's another nice benefit of when orientation is happening. And Kelly, to prepare, I would just say, we're gonna give you everything you need for orientation. I just bring yourself and kind of be willing to be engaged. We're gonna ask you to meet a whole bunch of people that you have not met yet. I mean, you might know some because they're gonna be in your cohort as well. But we're gonna want you to really be engaged and interactive. We're gonna try and make our orientation interactive as well. So yeah, come prepared to just be able to be open and be active.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sean,
So
can I add on real quick about orientation?
yeah, definitely.
I think another important thing to know is just like going into it, most people don't know each other going into it. So everyone's kind of in the same place when you show up to orientation, but the way orientation is structured, like it makes it a really welcoming and safe environment to meet other members who will be in the program too. And you learn to rely and communicate with other AmeriCorps members too, because they'll be going through the same or similar experiences at their respective sites. So you all are kind of going through it together. And since you're together for like a good chunk of the first week, especially, I feel like that first week is where we spend the most of our time getting to know each other. But during that first week, we're together all day long, whether it's in training or lunch. So like you really do get to form like a bond with the people around you, even if you're not going to be seeing them every single day. It's like a group of people that you know you can rely on and reach out to if you need anything. That's it.
That's a great point. We've even had these two of our current AmeriCorps members who just graduated from the program. They're now roommates for this upcoming program year or academic year. They're not doing the program again, but they weren't at the same site, but they were able to still connect after orientation. And you know, they're a great support for one another, and super glad that this could have. I don't think it would have happened if they weren't in AmeriCorps together. So one of the biggest things we ask is always feedback, and we saw everyone's feedback from last year. And so a cool thing is we have Bay State Health Children and Family Resource Center. It's a long name, and they're providing one training about trauma focused, trauma focused. It's a long word, but care and identifying and support for youth, focus on youth. And so we decided, based off of feedback of past AmeriCorps members, that we need to have more concrete tools that you walk away and into your site with. And so that's just one of those tools that we can at least express. And that's why we've had to have a change from our original day of August 15th to the 17th, just to accommodate some of the scheduling with Bay State and a few other organizations that we're partnering with.
All right. So with that, thank you so much for joining us. If you have further questions, here is Alicia and my contact info for folks. So Celeste, I'm going to follow up with you, and also Sarah, I'm going to follow up with you about that Worcester question, so that we can get those answered, but feel free to reach out at any time. We like answering questions because we want you all to have the information you need to make this decision. We know it's a big decision, so please reach out. And thank you so much to our panelists. Really appreciate you helping us out and being a resource for current members. But serving is what you do. So we know that you're used to that, and we really appreciate it. We're going to try and do a second Q&A session. So we will follow up with folks to let you know when that might be. And with that, thank you so much again, and have a fantastic weekend.